Hello, welcome to House and Home Chat Real Estate Real Talk with Dena and Chris. I'm Chris Breitenbach.
And I'm Dena Mathis, and we have a really exciting program for you today. Today we're chatting it up with Rachel DesRochers, who's just a dynamic, multifaceted woman entrepreneur. She's a mom. She's the wife and the mom of 3 kids. Yep. She's the founder of Grateful Grams, the Incubator Kitchen Collective, which we are recording from today, the Gratitude Collective, and she's also a huge advocate for women entrepreneurs, and there's just so much there. We're really excited. We're going to dive into all of that in just a few minutes. We'll get to that.
Yes. A little bit later in our show, during Real Talk, we're going to be discussing the community of Cincinnati of North Avondale, which is where Rachel, I believe, is your community. And you all know Dena and I love sharing the history and the real estate of the different areas within Cincinnati. And as our listeners, as you know, we do a small business shout out every week. That's part of what makes this week so exciting. Rachel, we would consider, right?
An expert, right?
A very accomplished, perhaps an expert entrepreneur and expert at starting a new business.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn it over to Rachel. Welcome to our program.
Thank you.
Welcome, Rachel.
Thanks
we're so happy to have you.
Yes.
Great
Share
to be
a
here.
little bit about yourself.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for coming to my office and being
we
here.
love it.
Yeah. It's really remarkable bringing people here.
Yeah.
Seeing it is so much better than trying to describe it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hearing about it was totally different than walking in the door and experiencing this kitchen warehouse space.
Yeah.
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business in 2010, which is Grateful Grams. I had actually lost my job. I did marketing for a grocery store.
Okay.
Lost my job, stayed home for about a year, and then was doing some holiday baking with a girlfriend, and we made homemade graham crackers. My daughter at that point was a month old, and I just was like, wow, I've never had a homemade graham cracker.
Oh.
It was so delicious, and I've always felt called, and I'll get into, but like really, the Gratitude Collective is a culmination of the brands and companies that I've built all through spreading the message of gratitude and building communities. So Grateful Grams, I often say that we're a gratitude company that makes a cookie. We're not a cookie company that talks about gratitude. It is like the core of who we are. And I literally started the company with my 5.5-month-old strapped to my back and started rolling out graham crackers and just trying to take them to market. And so we grew very organically, and which has led to our second business, which I started in 2013, which is the Incubator Kitchen Collective. It's a nonprofit shared use commercial kitchen space that we're located now in Newport, Kentucky. When I originally started, we were in Covington. And then I have a few I do some consulting and mentorship, and we just launched a women's conference we'll talk all about.
That's originally how Chris and I discovered Rachel, as we read a lovely write-up about the women's conference, but we'll get into all of that.
There's so much.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, the Gratitude Collective and this Grateful Grams, you know, here we are, it's Thanksgiving, it's November, you know.
It's my month, you guys.
Right, exactly. So we're called to think about, obviously, the gratitude, the things in our lives that we're grateful for.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about that. You know, everything, there's a theme there with the gratefulness, right?
There is. Gratitude is, I think, the theme through everything I've built. And, you know, it's funny, for years I've been told, like, how do you, like, why, right? And I think in entrepreneurship, we're constantly challenged with what our vision and dream is, but what our actual capacity or resources are. And it's a conversation that's also not being had, because then we have to be vulnerable and let people know that maybe we don't have all of the things to make all of it happen. And I also believe that good things take time. As we're entering in, we'll be 12 years old in April of next year.
Congratulations.
That's a pivot, right?
That's
that year between 10 and 11 is just really, it's actually blown my mind at how things have shifted between those years. Just, I think it's, people realize we're not going anywhere. We're still here. We're still going to be talking about gratitude. Why gratitude? I think it's the most empowering an important tool anyone can have in their toolbox.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and for me, when I talk about gratitude and teach it, what I come to the table with it is that it's a tool of completeness. So a lot of these tools that we work with, it's always we have to do something in order to get X.
Mm-hmm.
And with gratitude, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Except stop and take a breath and inquire that question. What am I grateful for? And what I love about it is that if it's fear or love or anxiety or joy or pain and, immense beauty, they're always together. Like that's what I tell people and teach people about gratitude. If you're having a bad day, right? Like meet it in the middle with like you've got a roof over your head, you've got clothes on, right? Like it really is that simple. Yeah. Accepting what you have is how you get more. And we run our heads into the wall thinking like we need more, we've got to have more, and we're not appreciative of the cup of coffee in our hands or this conversation, right? Like, so it's really important to bring it back to this. And I think it's the reason I've lasted 11 and a half years in business is that I have a practice that has really kept me grounded and allowed me to continue casting a bigger vision for our community.
That's amazing, because I mean, we all talk about the gratitude, like I said, and here we are in November, but you truly are living your gratitude. Yeah, I mean, yes, every single day it's infiltrated into our home, it's infiltrated into our work. I mean, I've built multiple businesses now off of the theme of gratitude.
I love that. And it's that simple, right? Like it and really, that reminder really that it should be that simple. There's something really grandiose in that simplicity.
But we get so wrapped up in I'm going to call it the motion.
Absolutely.
You've got to appreciate, but that motion, every challenge that you experience, especially as a small business person.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a blessing. We should be grateful because we have that problem or that challenge.
Yeah.
And it's a skill, I think, that you develop over time.
Yeah. I'm like, you guys, it's the strong muscle I got, so let me have it. Don't even challenge that strong muscle, but like give yourself time to strengthen the muscle. So I tell people if it feels overwhelming to start something new, and because we put pressure anytime we start a new practice, whether it's flossing our teeth or making smoothies, it doesn't matter. Like the one day we miss, we're like a fail, right? We've messed up. Well, I might as well just give up on this. And gratitude, I tell it like start twice a week. Start at the dinner table with your kids. We do roses and thorns as a family where my kids talk about the best part and the worst part. Start a little note app on your phone. My writing is my practice right now. And so, but there's lots of ways to have a gratitude practice that's simple, low lift, no cost.
Right, no cost.
I think that's right. Like, but I also remind, especially the ladies, if you are somebody who needs the special journal or needs the special pen, permission to go get it. Permission to go buy what you need to start a practice that will change your life.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well,
let's do it. Okay. Well, and you can start it, like you said, anytime.
Yeah,
and you can restart it.
Thankfully, we have a month that amplifies it. Yeah. And so, but also in that amplification also comes all of the triggers of family gatherings and and so
stress that comes
can you use that tool to comfort you through this month and beyond? I think so.
Right.
It's really important.
And me, Dena, I'm processing, okay, how am I going to incorporate this in my life, right?
Yeah.
Maybe instead of having those 10 goals or things I'm working on in my mirror, I should have the 10 things I'm grateful for on my mirror.
Remember taking those small breaths, those deep breaths.
Remember taking those small breaths.
That's it.
Right, but I think there's always ways you can figure out how to practice this.
Yeah.
And we need the reminder.
Definitely.
We all need it. And the more that we give ourselves permission to have it, then it just infiltrates through our communities. I mean, I look at people, I watch a lot of women in our community who often write gratitude posts now. Or I just had a store go, we're going to do this like month of thanks, but we wanted your, like, is it okay? Like, we know that's your thing. And I'm like, I don't own it.
Yeah.
You don't know gratitude?
I love that people tell me that I'm the CEO of gratitude, and I will happily fill that role. But like permission for us to, like, we all need it. Thank you for giving me a voice to use it, and share. So
yeah, that is great.
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
So starting, what do you go earlier? Chris is taking it.
I'm zen right now.
Chris is taking it all in. She's just gonna go sit in the corner and practice her gratitude, curl up. That's great. So going back to the start of your business. You said you were going through some transition, it sounded like. I mean, was that truly your motivation in beginning the business? Or had you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? I mean, who's Rachel?
Who's Rachel? Yeah. Rachel's loud and happy, and truly Rachel, I think, is a positive person. I've been told my whole life that I'm like, you're too much, like. The teachers like never knew what to do with me. Thank you. I love you. I see you. I know you saw me. I had gratitude journals through high school. Like I would get in trouble for passing these books around. Like I remember that. You know, my dad, when we moved when I was in grade school, so all these little micro stories add up to who I am, I think, right? So one of the pivotal moments in a story I often tell is transition of grade schools, new school, not the skinny blonde girl, like the chunky Rachel, she's here, and like kids are really mean
because she's loud,
right? Like, and kids are mean, right? So like I was that teased kid, and I just remember my dad, like I was in 6th grade, so how old are you? 12, and he goes, "It's not about that. It's about loving yourself, and those girls need to love themselves, and the only way you're going to get through this is you knowing that you're enough, and you loving who you are." And I heard that at 12 by the grace of all things, you know, and it's held and it's anchored me in as an important piece that like I'm enough. And it's a common theme, I think, within women is that we don't believe that about ourselves. We don't talk about that. We don't trust it, right?
Yeah, there's always someone who knows more, or someone who
always,
you know,
and there is.
Yeah, and there is.
I depend on experts every day to help me. I'm okay with knowing that my lane is this.
Right.
You know, and we're better together. Who is Rachel? I was a college dropout. Should I even tell that story? I had a professor who I went into pre-law. I was going to work with my dad. Then I went into nursing because everyone's like, you need to be a nurse. Like, I was like, okay, like
sounds good.
I think at the end of it, I just wanted to help people.
Yeah,
right.
You're compassionate, right?
And
so
I had a professor. He was like,
skill lended
that's
to
it.
Nursing. Or whatever.
And I had a professor. He was like, your job's to catch my mistakes, and I was like, that's not the purpose of my life. It's not the purpose of my life. What's the purpose of my life? Making a difference and being here and using my voice, right? And that's taken time to develop. Grateful Grams, my journey into entrepreneurship. I have entrepreneurs on both sides of my family. It is in our blood. I think that I am so thankful for that on a lot of levels. But it was the birth of my daughter and an incredible mother. My mother did a lot of things, but I also heard her say, like, I wish I could have, or I should have. Yeah. And when Rosie was born, like the day she was born, I was like, I can't do that.
That was a pivotal moment.
And so 5.5 months later, we launched our first company. I called my husband at work and I said, I'm going to start a graham cracker company. I'm going to talk about gratitude. I'll be able to make some money and I'll be able to be with the kids.
Did he say you're nuts?
And he goes, okay, babe, let me know if you need anything. I was like, okay, right? And now we work together full time, which is like really incredible, but he's always like, he just was like, yeah, go, I'm here, right? Go. Yeah. And I've really, everything has been built from that moment organically. It's been from being quiet and listening. It's been from me going, okay, I'm ready for the next thing. What is it? You know, and never, trying to micromanage. When I try to micromanage is when I get overwhelmed, is when I feel like I'm doing too much.
Sure,
when I'm in flow and going, it all, like, I really believe it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to
try not
trust
to
it.
control the universe,
And
right?
and
Because
in
you can't.
0 to 5 year entrepreneurship, you tell that to entrepreneurs, they're like, screw you, right? Like, we don't know what to do with that advice, but like, because you're in the thick of it. But here, 11 and a half years later, I've trusted the process. I've shown up, and I've wanted to just make the world better. And so now, if I laid out all of our things, I own Grateful Grams. We manufacture graham crackers. The Incubator Kitchen Collective, which is a nonprofit. We have 10,000 square feet here. We've supported over 160 startups. We have 45 that are current. And then the Rachel DeRocher, which is my other LLC, where I do my head-to-heart mentoring, I do consulting, and where we've launched our women's conference and some other projects, right? So
that's a lot.
Yesterday driving home from a project, Sarah, my assistant, said, did you ever think we would be driving home from this? And I was like, well, I never even knew I could get a U.
I could have a Sarah.
And then, like, no, when I started the kitchen 8 years ago, I flung open the doors and I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know we need a home. Makers in this region don't have a place to work, a network, mentoring, peer support. We just didn't have it. And I said, let's build it. I started with 0 capital.
Yeah.
I asked Ken Recton, who is still, I still give him a nod, because I literally said, here's my idea. I just need someone to give me a chance.
Did he, was the owner of the?
He was the Covington space. He managed that. It was the
building.
basement of the senior services in Northern Kentucky.
Okay.
So they did Meals on Wheels. The kitchen was empty. And I'm low bottom the first go around. And I said, I can give you, like, I don't know, $500 a month. Probably is probably the number I threw out to him. He's like, I probably need more than that. So in 6 months, though, I had proof of concept, and I went back to him and I said, your kitchen's still empty? And he goes, yeah. And I said, great, now you need me.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what it is.
This is what I can bring to the
and so
table.
if you're in that space of thinking through ideas, like, don't be afraid to ask, because it's
we're so
there.
afraid of rejection, aren't we?
Yes.
Well,
yeah, we're so afraid of that no.
How wonderful for the people who are here and who use your collective,
Yeah.
because you did it without that.
Yeah.
And you do have that expertise that you can share.
Yeah.
And you've overcome a lot of obstacles that you know they're going to face. So what were some of those obstacles?
I tell people the kitchen is a give back, like being able, if I can help relieve one barrier from one of these business owners, I've done my job. I mean, obstacles are how to get products into stores. Where do UPCs come from? How do you package something? How do you find the shelf life? Where do you buy bulk bell peppers at? I mean, it doesn't, how do you get licensed?
Right.
How do you file an LLC? How do you set up a business banking account? You guys, I've heard it all, right? Taste this, it needs salt, right? Like, so there's so many things, but really it's coming in this office and saying, where are you stuck? Well, I'm really afraid. My mom's sick right now, and I have a catering this weekend. Okay, let's talk through that. Okay. That's where Rachel comes in, is let's slow the conversation down. Let's get back into our bodies.
Right.
Let's
just
be
a
okay.
Little therapy session.
Right. Let's be sad or be whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have all those emotions. And then from there, let's build a plan that you need, right? And it's worked. I mean, we've got an incredible family here.
How many, did you say how many people?
We have
work out
about
of this
45
kitchen?
companies that currently operate out of here.
And how many since its inception? Like how
We've
many
supported
have
over 160.
Wow.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as we were walking through, we did see a lot of those people in their spaces, a lot of activity. You might hear in the background as we're recording today also.
Yeah.
But you shared, there were some cool stories there too, and everybody has.
I tell people this is the land of dreams. People often ask what do we have to have? And I'm like, you have to have a will to and drive, right? I don't believe you have to have it all figured out. Again, because I'm proof that I didn't think I would be here when I started this 11 and a half years ago?
Right.
Why do we put that pressure? Yeah, have a plan, but have nimbleness in your plan, have flexibility, have grace, right? Have
Allow
gratitude.
yourself grace, right?
Yeah, and so it's that really just trying to nurture them through the widest holistic lens, because at the end of the day, getting help building a business plan or starting QuickBooks is easy.
Right.
We think that that's our problem in starting a business. That's not your problem.
Yeah,
That's not it.
Isn't it?
It's our fears,
But it
it's
helps
our
to have
worries.
that vision and that business plan.
Yeah, right? You can't teach drive.
You're right.
You can't,
Right.
absolutely. So in talking about the Incubator Kitchen Collective, it's a nonprofit.
We are a
right?
nonprofit. We actually have our first fundraiser. I don't know when this will come out, but December 5th, we're having a Taste of Gratitude. And that
It'll come out before then. So,
great. And Taste of Gratitude is an opportunity for all of you guys to support our work. We have a ticket. I'll send you the Eventbrite link. And so you can buy a ticket and come. You can donate to our raffle. You can buy raffle tickets. You can just make a donation. And it supports the overall work here.
The overall work at the kitchen.
It supports the overall work at the kitchen. I need staffing, which means I need employees, right? I need money for employees. We need ovens. We need like there's just day-to-day operations. And we're in this phase of the kitchen where we're small, but we're mighty, and we just need that little push because the more that we're supported, the more people we can help and support, right? And so that Taste of Gratitude will be a dinner by the bite. They'll have over 20 stations set up. All members of our kitchen, either current or past, plus some of the folks that are coming down from the Fairborn Project. So it's really a regional experience. It's at Rheingeist Brewery down in OTR.
Okay.
So
yeah, definitely. We'll get that information out to everybody, and
awesome.
So coming soon.
Coming soon. So that's like that's one of these things that we're working on here, and it's just. And
that sounds like your reason for the nonprofit is just your giving back to the community in some way.
Yeah, we got to help the people.
Yeah.
You know, just because you're starting a business, they need it. These guys are change makers. When you really think about your communities that you're living in, it's the entrepreneurs that have really made the communities. It's the coffee shops. It's the restaurateurs. It's the mom and pop shops. Those are who we lean in. Those are who we take our friends to for experiences.
Exactly.
And when we buy local, the money stays here. People don't realize when you're going and buying all corporate, that money leaves your community. I think it's like 60 cents on the dollar stays when you buy local, where it's like 15 cents on the dollar when you don't. And so you have an opportunity of impact and you don't even realize it, right?
Right.
And these conversations bring that to the light to say, wait a second, no, go to your farmers markets.
Right.
Pick the locally owned chef-owned restaurant if you're going out with your family, right? Like they're little things, but as an owner, it makes a huge impact.
It does. And you know, we, everybody knows that we do.
That's your thing. That's why you're here. That's why you're here.
Right. But it's that's where I want to buy my
your
produce.
Meats and your
that's where I want to buy my meats. At the same time, I look at so many of our companies, especially being in the Cincinnati area, where our large companies started as a small business.
I tell Kroger that all the time. We do a lot of work with Kroger. I mean, like, you started just like we did.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool, right?
And so I look at
that
story to be a small part of that story.
I think of all of these national brands even, right? I mean, Kellogg's, any of them, they all started small. No one opened the door as a billion-dollar company, right?
Yes.
They were just, and that idea that you can do that too.
Or not.
And if you have a job that you love, God bless you, because we need those people too.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
The CEO or the janitor or the dishwasher or doesn't matter. Like what it matters to me is like, are you happy?
Right. It all contributes to
the greater good.
Of everybody. And the gratitude, being grateful. Is at the core of all of it.
Yeah.
And you know, when Chris and I read about this women's empowerment network, yeah, that's like another layer, right? We were like, who is this woman? And what is she all about? And I know that there are just, again, you've talked about the multifaceted businesses that you have. They're not necessarily brick and mortar walk-in, you know, type of businesses, but you know, how do we support your businesses?
Sure. Yeah, so let's talk Power to Pursue.
Please, yes.
So I had this idea in 2018, 2019, and I went to a group of women that I work with, all entrepreneurs, and I said, I've got this idea, but I know that it's big, and can you help me lift it? And they were like, yep, we're on, right? Like,
so where did you dream this idea?
Oh, you know, it came from the fact that we don't have anything. I think that's when I look around and what I need. I've led women's circles, women's groups, retreat work on top of all of this stuff, literally for the last 15.
But you felt like you're the one initiating it. You're like, where is it?
Where is it? The only times that I could find it, especially like in the business, is like joining clubs, and that's sometimes hard because the clubs maybe don't have the entrepreneurship that we really need, right? And so like there wasn't anything here that I was building micro communities. I have plenty of that, but this idea that we all need to come together, and then started asking women like, what do we need? And like, we need to come together. We need to see each other. We need to feel you. We need to look at you. We need to cry. We need to shout. We need to say, this is really hard
The energy that you get from being in a room together
absolutely
is empowering.
And so then the pandemic hit, and so we just put it on a shelf, which I think was a really beautiful gift, because, man, do we know what Power to Pursue means now?
So it gave you time.
It gave us
clarity,
an experience collectively as women and as mothers that no one can take away and say didn't happen, right? We went through this pandemic together. Now we can come together and have even a deeper, broader conversation. Because we have this singularity thing. We've all had to hold on this past year.
Right.
And so how do we build this? And when I started asking women, like I've done surveys in my Instagram stories over the last couple years, like, what is it that you guys want? Like, what is it?
So you've reached out, you've gotten feedback.
And they're like, we want to know how to use our voice. We want to have mentors that care and hear us. We want to not be afraid. We want to see
and not be alone.
Women,
you know,
right? It wasn't. We need help establishing our business, and I need funding, like, right? And I think we had that lens.
Yeah.
And it's not that. It's that we just need space and time to be together. So let's give that. And so we're building it. It's May 20th.
Yeah.
We've got some incredible sponsors. I can't wait to share more. They're all coming.
So what is this day?
It's May 20th. May 20th. It's a 1-day women's entrepreneur and empowerment summit. We have panels, headshots, vendor galleries. We'll have an incredible keynote. We're working on getting our dream person, and we're all holding tight that she'll say yes.
Do we have any
no,
sort of sneak?
No, I can't because I'm like so excited that if this comes to fruition, we'll all just weep together, right? But no, it's this idea that we can provide real life experience through the lens of vulnerability, through the lens of connectiveness, through the lens of support, love, and understanding. It isn't through I'm better than you, or you're once you get here, you mean something. No, you mean something no matter where you are.
Right.
And you don't hear that, you guys.
So who should come?
Any woman who's looking for their people. Any creator who
anybody,
right? Like why limit it when women are yearning?
Yeah. So it doesn't. You're not necessarily.
It won't
be
heavy entrepreneurship, but
who has to be a small business person.
I could name 35 entrepreneurs that work for corporate America who would be impacted by being together this day, right? I think that's the thing is we want to put it in box of like there isn't. the ideal person is the woman who is willing and ready to show up for her best life.
Oh, I love that. That's everybody,
Yeah.
right? It should be everybody.
It should be.
Everybody.
But we get stuck of like,
best life.
how do we do that?
Isn't that
Well,
funny?
you
But then
do
there's
that by
even-
showing up.
There's
You-
even there's that fear of taking that first step, and that first step is
Yeah.
showing up.
Yeah,
Right.
and so we're also doing some micro events leading up to it. So our
Okay,
first
yeah.
one is December 3rd. There are still a few spots in the afternoon session. It's a self-care and social media, because we
Okay,
find that
okay.
as a common theme where social media is an incredible tool, but it also amplifies our fears, worries, anxieties, our enoughness, right? Because we're constantly comparing it to the world around us versus stopping and looking at all the things that you have.
Yeah.
And so I can send you that link so that
Yes.
you have that, and then we'll be
Perfect.
having a smaller one in like the February, and then on beyond
So
May.
Those are all leading up to the big events in
Yes, so
May.
you'll start
Okay.
building some of these micro communities. You'll start meeting some of the
People.
women.
Mhm.
Website will be launching this month. Ticket sales go on before Christmas,
That's
so
what I
that
was
if you're
gonna ask.
looking
Merry
for that
Christmas.
perfect,
Okay.
Great.
if you're like, I need a gift,
Yeah.
send that link to your husband or
You
your partner,
and all
and
your girlfriends. I mean, what a great
We're
gift,
actually-
you know, where you're all
we're not
buying
doing a
little things,
VIP. We're actually building out girlfriend suites. So they
I
have
love that.
7 suites at Memorial Hall.
Okay.
And the guy goes, that is such a great idea, but I think that's part of it. Like when I want my girlfriends, like I want to sit together and I want
Yeah,
to chat
Right,
and like
right.
know that if I
Yeah.
start crying, somebody will just hand me a tissue because they just write like that's part of it. And so like we're building out these little girlfriend suites. So like you could buy
my
a
gosh.
package and like then just get your 5
Yeah.
friends to, right? So
Right.
that's all coming. I'm just really, to be completely honest, when we launched it a month ago, the feedback was so overwhelming. It took me a week to just really read through it all. The comments, the messages, the phone calls.
Wow.
I mean, right? Like you were like, who are you?
Yes,
You're on our podcast.
Who
When
are
can
you?
we hang
Yeah.
out? And so like it was coming from everywhere, which I think for me, I just said, man, this was the right time.
This was
Right.
right. This
We
is
were-
making
we were
huge
ready.
impact
Well,
already.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm gonna say, and you are the right person
Thank you.
to do it. I just, even the comment you just said that you read everything.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
you know, that to me is that thing that makes you, part of the thing that makes you
Yeah.
special.
Yeah. I think working in entrepreneurship is some of the most humbling work, and it keeps me grounded to realize that those comments mean a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People are taking time out of their day, out of their time and out of their space to acknowledge work that we do. And I don't ever want to lose that, no matter how
Yeah.
big I grow.
That's beautiful.
You know,
Yeah,
I just-
no, I mean, your light
That's
shines bright,
beautiful.
girl. I don't see that ever dimming.
You know, and I think it's you see the people who have lost the humbleness, right? And
Yeah.
it's that reminder
Yeah,
of like
Yeah.
we always have that question of choice. Every decision, even our feelings, right? So
Mhm.
yeah.
What sort of advice would you give to somebody who has an idea? You know, I've got this
You
idea.
deserve permission. You deserve to try it. We think it has to be something. One of my favorite stories that I tell is a company that rented from here. He had been making a frozen mousse product, kind of like an ice cream. His friends and family loved it. You should start a business. We got him. He got great media. He signed on like when we were opening here, and we had a grand opening event. Blah blah blah. It was a phenomenal. And 3 months later, he goes, I hate making mousse. I'm not going to have a business because I want to love making mousse again. Thank you
Oh gosh.
for giving
yeah,
me
yeah,
space
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that to me is success
Right.
because we
That's
hold
a great point.
ourselves back from trying.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it doesn't mean it has to take up your time. It doesn't mean it's full time.
And it doesn't mean it has to be forever either, right?
or that it's going to
Right.
make you a billionaire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The question is, does it bring you joy?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
happy?
Right. Right.
Did you get to exhale and release some of that worry? Because how many of us are thinking of things right now that go, man, if I just want to try, like,
Yeah,
oh.
I love that, giving yourself permission to try, because I think, you know.
Try and fail.
And try, exactly.
Right?
Many times
it's not just the try, it's give yourself permission to fail.
I don't have enough fingers to count my failures. And every failure has made me a better owner, leader, wife, daughter, mother, woman.
And why are we so afraid to try and fail?
Because we're so afraid to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And it's that inner voice that says, you're not good enough.
Yeah. Well, and that's where these networks, and this network is just so key. I mean, having women who embrace you and allow you that space and the energy that it provides you.
And you will be surrounded by them, hopefully 556 of them in a room on May 20th.
That's how many we're housing there?
Yeah.
Okay, 550.
He goes to like 200. I said, oh, no,
no,
we're going to sell this thing out.
We go big or go home.
And he goes, oh. And I was like, oh, that's our goal here.
Yeah. We don't start.
I'm not doing this. Like, great. If it's 100 women, then that's
we're not
fine.
starting with 50 people here.
We're going big, and I think that this conversation's proof that, like, we're gonna all have a really good day on May 20th.
That's awesome.
So
looking forward to it.
It's on my calendar.
Yeah.
Good. On my calendar.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's just so much here.
Yeah.
There's so many layers to Rachel.
And you had asked about where people buy. So if you're interested in makers that are at the Incubator Kitchen Collective, I encourage you to follow the Incubator Kitchen Collective. You can go to the website. There's a pretty current list of companies that work out of here.
Okay.
And then Grateful Grams, you can go to gratefulgrams.com. We ship straight to your door. You can order. Some of our wholesale stores are listed there too.
Yeah, I was going to say you can buy them in the grocery.
Yeah, you can get it Kroger's, Whole Foods, a lot of mom and pop shops.
Yeah, exactly. And are they vegan?
They are.
Yeah, I knew there was something special about it.
Yeah, and the vegan was a nod to my dad, who adapted a vegan diet after a battle with cancer. And so I made them both ways in the beginning, and everyone actually loved the vegan. I was like, all right, Dad, this one's for you. Let's do this, So, yeah.
Is there anything we haven't touched on today, Rachel?
Gosh, I hope not.
I mean, we could talk to you forever.
I could talk to you forever.
It's going and going, but at some point we got to wrap it up.
Yes.
So is there anything that, we haven't shared with our listeners?
I can't. No, I mean, you follow, if you want to know me more, you can follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at Rachel DesRochers.
Spell your last name.
Yeah, Rachel and then DesRochers.
S at the end.
Yes. that little sneaky Heidi S.
Yeah.
You can sign up for my blog, rachelderochers.com. I have a free 2-week gratitude journal there that you can download. So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Great. And I've already been to those sites. I checked them all out. Great course.
Yeah.
We greatly appreciate your being with us
today. Thank you so
much
much for coming down here.
We appreciate your time. You're a busy lady.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as always, for those of you who follow us and you're watching us on YouTube, know that we will have these websites. We will have the contact information. All at the end of the program, always a couple of photos too, because I love the timeline on the chalkboard walking into where we are.
Yeah.
So look for that at the end of our program.
Great. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it today.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thanks. Thank you.
Before we switch gears into Real Talk, I want to say thank you to Rachel just one more time. We appreciate your being here. And of course, a small business shout out to everything that you do.
Grateful Grams in the grocery stores or order online, and all of Rachel's initiatives, right?
Yeah. So shout out to all of them.
Yeah, so as we're switching gears into the Real Talk portion of our program, we thought we'd focus on the community that Rachel lives in, which is the community of North Avondale. So today we're going to share a little bit about North Avondale. Just so that you all know, it's a suburb just northeast of downtown, very close to the downtown area, with a population of about 3,500 according to a 2010 census. And it is defined differently than the neighborhood of Avondale, Chris, which has a population of about 13,000. So they're seen as two different neighborhoods. It's also home to Xavier University and Avon Woods Preserve.
Yeah, which I just found all of that information fascinating. It is also known for being one of the most architecturally distinguished areas of our city, dating back to 1890. And styles, oh my gosh, the homes there are beautiful, but they include
Those
like the
beautiful
Queen
mansions.
Anne and Victorian and the Italian Renaissance, English medieval, and I saw Tudors and Greek revival. There's just a little bit of everything there.
It is. It really is kind of a mecca of that really grand architectural uniqueness.
Grand's a good word for it.
Yeah, those beautiful mansions.
Yes.
So they are some of the most, prestigious earlier homes in the area, and they were home to some of the most prestigious businessmen in the area, Chris, who actually built their homes in the North Avondale area. Did you know that?
Well,
not being from Cincinnati, I don't know.
Okay,
Did you know
so
that?
the Hershey Mansion was on the market a couple of years ago,
Yes.
I believe, and that really was one of the things that drew my attention in North Avondale.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So Samuel Pogue is another one that people might remember, or a name that they might identify with. Barney Kroger. So they all built their homes around the turn of the century in that North Avondale area. And it was built when the streetcar was built in that area as a connection to the downtown area. So a connection between North Avondale and downtown.
And it's interesting because we're seeing that so frequently that as things expanded north, it's because of the transportation.
Right.
And today, because of all of this history, the residents who are in North Avondale today, they really embrace urban living, architectural preservation, and they do have a strong neighborhood association whose goal is to focus on the continued success of their community.
Yeah.
And they're really passionate about preserving that community.
Yeah, I would say passionate about preserving the community.
Preserving.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And it's pretty cool that there's also a very diverse price range in that area historically, kind of anywhere between 100,000 and 900,000, so it's among one of the most affordable neighborhoods in Cincinnati, priced per square foot. And Chris, I know that you looked up some current statistics about what's going on in the market in the North Avondale area.
I did.
What'd you come up with?
My map that I used, I followed the map of what I found for North Avondale. So I really went from Vine Street to Victory Parkway, between Mitchell and Glenwood. And so in that area, currently, and that's not a big area, but there's 6 homes on the market. And I love that there's one for like somewhere around 118,000 for a condo at the Belvedere, all the way up to a mansion listed at 975. And this was built in 1905.
Oh my gosh.
By a gentleman named Charles, I'm going to get my name right, Thurmauer. And he was a banker broker originally from Bavaria, Germany.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I know.
You have a lot of German,
a part of that German heritage came here and built that home. There are 9
I bet that's gorgeous.
I know. I want to see it. So if you want to go see it, Dena and I would love to take you.
If you're looking to move in that price range.
If you want to move.
And we'd love to go to that one.
We'd love to see it. Hey, there's 9 currently pending, which is a nice number. And that ranges in price from $20,000 to $700,000.
Again, a very diverse price range there.
And,
what about the solds?
The solds, I looked at from January 1st of this year, and there's 54 that have sold in that area. And again, ranging from $12,000 to $950,000. So, again, my favorite part about all that is there's a huge price span. Each home is different. The age range is from the extremely old to homes that are built in the 2000s. So you can find just about anything there. It's home for anyone within the community. And
you've got your fixer-uppers. So if that's you, you can pick something up for maybe $12,000, right? Or if you prefer something that's been really lovingly restored back to its heyday, I'm sure those are the $900,000 mansions out there. So we'd love to help you. If you are looking for a home in the North Avondale area, Chris and I are here to help you do that. You want to just give us a call.
If you're looking for a home and the character fits, let us help you find where that character and where you're going to find your true home. Sometimes we have to think outside the box.
Right. It could be North Avondale. It could be any other area of the city, and we are your trusted realtors to help you do that. Right.
Reach out to us at DenaandChrisRealTalk@gmail.com.
Thank you all for joining us today. This has been the House and Home Chat Real Estate Real Talk with Dena and Chris, and we will see you next time.
And happy Thanksgiving.